This is the Boston Celtics newsfeed on CLNS Radio. Today is Sunday, April 30th, 2017. This is Corey Prescott reporting for CLNS Radio, the leading online provider of audio-video coverage for the Boston Celtics. The Boston Celtics and Washington Wizards have found a healthy disdain over the past couple of seasons between one another. It may not quite be Celtics-Lakers from the mid-1980s, however, there is clearly a dislike between two of the three Eastern Conference's top teams. It seems to have begun with Jay Crowder and then Wizards head coach Randy Wittman exchanging pleasantries during a January 2016 Celtics win in Washington. From there, the budding rivalry has seemed to have taken on a life of its own. The Wizards handed the Celtics their worst loss of the season on November 9th, punctuated by John Wall tackling Marcus Smart by the neck with the Wizards up 20 in the fourth quarter. The two had to be separated. Wall was ejected, Smart was handed a technical, and on the Wizards broadcast, Wall appeared to utter the phrase, "Meet me out back," in retribution for his teammate Smart, or perhaps the fact that these two teams did not see eye to eye. Boston's 117-108 win against Washington on January 11th was capped off by Wall and Jay Crowder meeting at center court after the final buzzer had sounded. The two met face to face, and soon enough, Crowder delivered the boop heard around the world with his index finger meeting the tip of Wall's nose. Wall responded with a quick slap, and both sides had to be separated. The Wizards also upped the ante during a January 24th game in Washington between the two squads when they donned all black to the arena. The dark funeral attire was worn to the arena as a message to the Celtics. Something worked as the Wizards beat the Celtics 123-108 as Wall and backcourt mate Bradley Beal combined for 58 points on 61% shooting from the floor. Said Crowder, a prominent member of this feud, on why the two teams play with such an edge between one another. Quote, "I think it's just two teams playing hard, and there's a lot of guys on their end that play hard, play nasty, play feisty, and I think we have some guys like that. Two teams like that come together. You have little situations and encounters, but I think it's just two teams playing hard." End quote. The matchup on the court should be even more interesting than the scuffles and pettiness between the two teams this season. Both teams, who respectively went 2-2 against one another during the regular season, derived their strength from the backcourts, with Wall and Beal carrying the offensive load for the Wizards. Isaiah Thomas is the Celtics' featured offensive weapon, yet he is flanked by two defensive stalwarts in Avery Bradley and Marcus Smart. If Bradley can come close to recreating his Chicago series, one in which he held All-Star Jimmy Butler to 43 and 26 shooting splits, and averaged 23.5 points and 5.5 rebounds on 65% shooting during the final two games of the series, the Celtics will have a much easier time competing with a Wizards team that had the 9th-ranked offense in the NBA this season, one spot behind the Celtics. If the regular season is any indicator on how teams will fare in the comforts of their own arenas as opposed to the sometimes hostile away crowds, the Celtics' home court advantage could really be a factor. The Wizards tied with the Celtics and Rockets for the 4th best home records in the league during the regular season, but were just 19-22 on the road, tied with the Milwaukee Bucks for the 3rd worst road mark among Eastern Conference playoff teams. The Celtics, meanwhile, went 23-18 away from the TD Garden this season, tied with the Toronto Raptors for 4th best road record in the NBA this season. There is explicit intrigue outside of Boston and DC with both of these clubs and how the matchups will unfold between Brad Stevens and Scott Brooks. Tip-off for Game 1 today is at 1 p.m. on ABC. Buckle up. Following the Celtics' destruction of the Chicago Bulls in Game 6 in Chicago on Friday, Isaiah Thomas left on a plane following the game to attend his sister Chyna Thomas's funeral. Thomas's sister tragically passed away on April 15th after getting into a car accident on the eve of Boston's Game 1 bout against the Bulls. Although Stevens indicated that he and the rest of the team would have accompanied Thomas for support if there had been no game on Sunday, Thomas was instead flanked by President of Basketball Operations Danny Ainge, along with assistant head coach Jerome Allen. The 5'8" superstar made the early morning cross-country flight Sunday morning back to Boston and, according to various reports, is at the Garden warming up in preparation for Game 1. Considering the mental and emotional toll, not to mention the physical toll that flying across the country west to east can take, Thomas will likely need all the support he can get. Avery Bradley, who grew up with Thomas in Tacoma, Washington, indicated that he and the rest of his Celtics teammates will be there for him. Said Bradley, quote, "I know it's going to be hard on him, but we're going to make sure we're here for him and we're prepared. I'm sure he's going to be prepared for the game." End quote. Celtics newsfeed is being powered by the SeatGeek ticketing app, the smartest and easiest way to buy and sell sports and concert tickets. Get a $20 rebate on your first purchase by downloading the free SeatGeek app to your phone. Go to the settings tab and click add a promo code and enter the code CELTSNEWS. That's CELTS news, all one word for a $20 rebate, and so SeatGeek knows who sent you. To stay up to speed on the 17-time world champions, follow CLNSradio.com on Twitter at CLNSradio. Be sure to subscribe to the Celtics newsfeed both on iTunes and Stitcher, as well as the CLNS Radio mobile podcast app. This has been Corey Prescott for Celtics Newsfeed.